All right, so the goal here is to unveil, unwrap, discover, discuss the what we're actually building here with this uncommon success program project. There are a number of moving parts to it, and it is quite confusing when you first look at it. And maybe I'm bonkers, and you can let me know as you're watching and listening. This is just my ugly version of this. There'll be a prettier version, but done by someone who has more graphic skills than me. Yeah, I was just jamming things on here, but I want to walk through like the whole ecosystem and then open for discussion. You know, where it fits, what the questions are, suggestions, etc. So first one, I'm going to start with the most important. So UNCOM villages and assets, I think, are the thing that people are going to resonate most strongly with. Of like, oh, okay, that's where this thing is going. Like that's why you created this. That's what's most important, and that is the case. Like the idea of real physical locations where people could experience a different version of themselves and go into other possibilities for their future. Like that's been the goal. Like that's the only reason I've really wanted to make money, was to fund that kind of idea. And I had one go at it in Australia, and it didn't really work out that well. But I have experiences from that to do it better time. So the villages concept looks like the one in Montenegro has started. So far, it's a tent and it's been painted, and the area around it's been cleaned. And we have the equipment to put dip bars and chin bars in UNCOM Montenegro. It's 3 hectares. It's beautiful. It's near the lake. I think I'm going to be able to build a house on the hill that can see to the lake, and maybe we can train on the roof of that place. It's sort of what I'm thinking about, but could easily have you could easily have 100 dwellings on the property, and a couple of gyms and a pool and cold plunges, and there's like a wood-fired sauna that I used to go to in Mullumbimby, where I used to live on the north coast of New South Wales. That'd be something that I'd want to put on there. Like, that's so. The Montenegro one has commenced. Vanuatu, we've dug a well, and it's ready to get started in building on the beach there. I believe the first 100,000 investment to own a house there has been agreed upon, or I'm not sure exactly where it is, but I'm pretty sure the first one's in place there. So building should start there quite soon as well. We've been talking about Bali as well, and Nico's definitely integrated with this. I don't know exactly what we're going to call it and stuff, but we're definitely going to be going there. Nico was talking in the chat there today of, when we're going to do a Bali event early next year, which is fantastic. The other cool thing that we've been thinking about working on is the vans. So I do actually have a few images of vans here. I don't have it to put into maybe I can pull it up on my phone, but we're likely to make these happen visually. Lyndon just built one, right? And so we can build more. And yeah, there's details to work out with all the insurance and all that sort of stuff, but just playing around with the art and whatnot. But we're actually going to offer an incentive to anyone who wants to put UNCOM stuff on their car, which is slightly less aggressive than asking everyone to do tattoos at this stage. I don't think we're ready for tattoos, but stickers on cars is probably something that we might be able to do. And so you'll get UNCOM rewards if you decide to brand your car, and the rewards will be proportional to the branding that you engage. So yeah, a bit of fun, but any kind of assets could go into this as well. So yeah, you're welcome. Two people in the waiting room. You're welcome. Let me make someone else a host here as well. Pete, can I make you a co-host? So because it didn't actually show me. There we go. So yeah, there's a possibility, like if you have an Airbnb place and you could have an UNCOM member stay at your place versus have just some random person off Airbnb, you'd probably rather have an UNCOM member stay. Now, Nathan Gould has a retreat, North Coast, New South Wales, that has Airbnb accommodation. Jordan Potts has one as well in Southeast Queensland that he rents out. That's 2 examples just of that. Those are people who've been in Real Movement, really good members of Real Movement. But as our community grows, the possibilities for more of that, and having any kind of space, like Max Hernandez often speaks about, like, gyms should just have the ability to sleep on the floor. So if like UNCOM members could stay at the gym wherever they were in the world, like that would be a cool thing as well. And if there was UNCOM tokens exchanged for that or nothing, like people will just want to do cool stuff. But obviously, like, we're building the financial incentive into the network. So UNCOM is the fuel for all of this stuff, at least to make it burn faster. That's really all it does. Like, it's going to burn anyway, but UNCOM token is going to make it burn faster. So that's the concept of the villages. I don't know if anyone's got any questions, thoughts, reflections, anything they'd like to add from their understanding of the village concept.
Keegan?
Yeah.
You okay? What's the idea behind the vans? Like, would there be vans to live in?
Yeah.
Or vans to be used on the site? Like,
no, yeah, like the
stuff like that.
Yeah, no, like that people could live in. So you could go on a tour and see all the other UNCOM members. I think that'll be one of the best ways. So the best ways to improve people's lives are going to be for them to come and stay in these villages, or if not, like, go and visit the people and stay in your van. There'll be the two ways that people's lives will improve fastest. If you could, save up so that you can afford to have a month in your van. And you earn your credits by doing all the stuff within the community, and then you get the van and you can go and visit all the people around the country in the network. You're going to get huge growth out of that. You're going to get social media growth. You're going to get personal growth just from the travel itself, the different cultural aspects, training with other people, masterminding about business. These are the best accelerators of human development. Like, I'm a huge advocate for travel. I've been to over 40 countries. I've lived in lots of different countries. I've lived in different language-speaking countries. I want more people to have those experiences. And so when you go to the States, Pete, if you can rent our van and one of our vans and go cruising around the United States, you'll be a better person by the time you get back to the cold, dark land that you come from. Yeah?
Yeah, it sounds good.
So yeah, like, there's still, like, obviously more details and stuff to work out, but I think in theory, like, any kind of asset could potentially add value to the network and could be sort of rented within the network. Like, I think we'll be creative with that. But I mean, if you fast forward to when we have 10,000 members, if you live in a major city and you can rent out ice baths or saunas or any of those sorts of things, like, across our network, lots of different types of assets could be valuable. I was speaking to someone today. It's a system. It's kind of like jumping castles, but you play the sports inside of it. It's called Thunderball or something like that. One of our newest members has got one. It's like $9,000, and it's like this would be a perfect thing if there was, if we had 500 members in Sydney, 50 members in Sydney. This person would get a bunch of business just with his one asset, because other members could use it for their kids' birthday parties and at their gym and whatever. So whatever assets that people want to put at service of the community, I think it's just, that's sort of where I'm going with it. So it's like Airbnb and that sort of thing, which is done. But Range actually brought it up, one of our members from the Middle East, of like, we should be able to actually share assets that we're not using, physical things that we're not using. Like, why don't we have a swap system for that? And one of the key barriers is trust, but there's going to be a lot of trust in this network because you got all sorts of different bonds and connections, and you won't want to be out once you're in because of all the benefits that you can have. Yeah. Anyone else got thoughts, questions, ideas around that? It's quite a big concept, but it's not that crazy once you actually trust people. So then we have the UNCOM Games, another component of this, the UNCOM Games. We have the UNCOM 25, which we're experiencing at the moment. There have been some really good results with that so far. People have done things that they weren't already doing. If it makes you get 5% more done for the month, then it's a huge win. For some people, it's going to be 50%. It's going to be doing all sorts of things that they probably never would have done otherwise. So that's the role of the games, is to get people to another level. The first UNCOM 5 is going to be in Spain in the middle of July. And There's one place of that is taken at the moment, and the other 9 are still available. But yeah, deep 5-day kind of full-time experiences, living together and going hard is the plan. So all the things that we do in UNCOM, so athletic, richer, smarter, masterminding, we'll train hard, we'll discuss business, we'll discuss all sorts of money things. And then, the 12-hour type experience, I think Lyndon has one of these coming up. I think it's 6 hours on 2 days type of a deal. Or it might just be 1 day. I'm not sure. Do you want to add something there, Lyndon?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's currently just planned for 1 day, 6 hours at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, cool. But yeah, that'll be something. This is like, I literally put this slide together today. So, Lyndon's been planning that event for months. But I ran a lot of 2-day events for real movement, and you can get some pretty cool stuff done in 2 days. I'd actually like to run them over 1 day, 12 hours as well, like go like 7 till 7. I think having a really full day of all of this stuff will be something really powerful as well. So anyone who owns a gym, anyone who's a personal trainer, the goal would be that you progress through, like, your first rite of passage once you've proven yourself will be the ability to run a 12-hour event. You'll need to probably attend some first and, achieve a lot of stuff within the community. But the goal is that, everyone, this fully decentralizes, where the community validates who's ready to do a 12-hour, who's ready to do a 5-day, who's ready to do run a 25-day event, or mentor people through it online. That's kind of the green level within the UNCOM 25. Once you've done a challenge at red, a challenge at blue, and a challenge at orange, then the next goal would be to have you do a challenge and complete the challenge at green. So you coach someone else through that. And that could be the people that are paying the $200 for the month. They might have you as their coach. So your goal is to do complete your green. And to do that, you need them to complete their red, blue, orange. This is kind of how I'm thinking about this game of, gamifying success and having people choose to do more, choose to be better, and achieve it, actually do it. That's what this ecosystem is designed for. So any questions, thoughts, queries around the UNCOM Games? Does that make sense? Drop me something in the chat box if it's making sense. Pete, what do you got for us?
Sounds good. I like like you say, it's good that you can sort of work towards something, like, work on your expertise, try and improve your skills, and then eventually, like, try and get some guys a little bit further behind than you, to your event. Might be local, might be in the van. You never know.
Yep.
So it's good.
Yeah, you might do it 1-to-1 to start with. Your first 12-hour UNCOM might be you just work with one person and you go through, imagine how valuable that could be for them if there's a nice sort of template of experiences and things. Could be really powerful. Two or three people, I think it could be really powerful to do it in that way. And even just if you're thinking about that from early on of like, I would like to lead some of this. Some people won't want to, but some people will. And then that potentially also makes you a more valuable personal trainer if you're someone who's able to do these sorts of things as well. Like, it could be of interest to people definitely. that you want to train. Did you want to share something there?
It's really interesting. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, I'm just taking in all the information. I'm finally kind of understanding everything, and it's really sounds really awesome, man. Like, I like where it's going. So just trying to get myself up to gear so I can get on board with everything. But sounds amazing.
I appreciate it. I see you working hard. I see you making progress. Did you want to share something there, Lyndon?
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's really interesting. You started talking about the UNCOM Games because Luke and I had that discussion, saying like the tennis court where we're going to host this event is kind of like a mini auditorium. And he said, oh, yeah, it's almost like the UNCOM Games could be held there. But yeah, I mean, just some insight into that event that we've been planning there. You need the skills to be able to light a fire with flint. You need to be able to memorize the Greek alphabet and then pitch a business concept all in the one session, and you're competing for 1 ounce silver dollars.
Love it. Yeah, it's gonna be powerful, and yeah, it's all stuff that we could run online as segments as well. So very cool, exciting. I'm looking forward to that happening. When is it scheduled for again?
It's the second weekend in June, so it's a month away, 4 weeks away. So we're just about to start. We've been speaking to a lot of people one-to-one about it. We haven't really put anything out publicly though.
Yeah, no, I noticed. Cool. Let's good to. I'm looking forward to seeing who's going. So then the team is that next part where we have each player has their own kind of player card where we learn about your history, your skills. We want to go a lot further with that, with psychological profiling, so spiral typing and genius typing, and working out if you're more of the visionary type or more of an integrator, details focused versus bigger picture. The clearer we are about who each individual is, then the more possibility there are for better collaborations as well. And so what I'm starting to see with UNCOM is that we're starting to put together a team of people that could really execute something really big. And I can feel that each person brings their own thing to the table. If you listen to Ray Dalio's principles, he's a very successful hedge fund owner. He has like a card for each of his staff members so that they can see who they can expect to work with in other projects. So they, based on their cards, that's how they piece it together. So if this person's really creative but terrible at finishing things, and this person's great at finishing things but not so creative, then they could be a good pair together with someone else who's like really good at keeping the peace and making things fun, for example. So that's we each have these talents and abilities that are natural to us. We can work on things that aren't as natural, and we can develop ourselves, but it's good to know what your natural tendencies are and be able to use your strengths. So that is a goal for the players. We're bringing on more and more mentors, people who you can book a call with, a paid call. So people who've been really successful. There's a bunch of millionaires in there. There's some Olympic athletes, Olympic coaches in there. And that's just going to keep getting better. So giving people access to those elite mentors, and then you can actually win access to those mentors. So a goal of mine is to have people like Jordan Peterson, Jocko Willink, David Goggins, maybe even Joe Rogan, agree to have one call with one member who's super high achieving. So imagine if you were the highest achieving member over a period of 5 years, and you were voted that by all the other members of UNCOM. We have 100,000 members at that time. Would Joe Rogan jump on a call with that person for 30 minutes? Yeah, I think he would. I think he'll want to know about UNCOM by that point as well. But you scale that back to whatever level. I've asked a few people, like good friends that have been really successful, hey, would you offer a call, with someone who does really well at this UNCOM 25 or one of these UNCOM 5 events? And they say yes, so of course we can pay them, and that's fine as well. But there are people who would love to give time to super high achieving, hardworking individuals. Like, it's just not so easy to find these people. There's a challenge on both sides. There's a challenge for a mentor to find people worth mentoring, and there's a challenge for someone looking for a mentor to find someone who they can get access to, who they can start a conversation with. And so this player mentor thing is something I'm very, very excited about. It's something I've wanted to solve for myself, and now it's being solved. So then you can graduate as a player to like a superstar or star status. I have met a couple of stars and superstars recently, people who want to go to, Benji's an example. He started the Freak Athlete Essentials, Freak Athlete Equipment. He's 20 years old. I'm working with him on that. I helped with the branding and the logo and stuff, but he's a superstar from the start. He wants to go to the World Cup for soccer, so he's very, sure about his athletic side, and he's a good learner, and he wants to be very wealthy, and he has a good business model and a good project to become very wealthy at a very young age. you can work towards being that. I'm a big believer in trainability of things and being able to work to high levels. I've seen people go from, if you listen to the story of people like Jordan Potts or Nathan Gould, who I started working with in, Nathan Gould was 2014, Jordan Potts was maybe 2016. These guys are stars now. They have properties with Airbnb, places on them. They've run gyms. They've got, they've set themselves up pretty well financially. It's important that we progress and that we graduate. So yeah, we've got kind of the 7 and the 8 system. So that would be like the stars and the superstars, I guess. And then brands as well. So I spoke to a brand today, and this is probably pretty interesting for some of you, because I've been having this conversation with Freak Athlete Essentials. The goal with Freak Athlete Essentials is to make ATG equipment available all over the world at about half the price of what everyone else is kind of selling it for. I don't know if that's the goal, but that's what's happening functionally, right? And if that can be done logistically and such, the numbers that I've seen, it's going to be extremely profitable. And so, yeah, that's a cool brand. That's a cool project. At the other end of equipment, there's a type of equipment that is just starting to gain some popularity. It's very well researched. It's proven to be much more effective than barbell training and dumbbell training. And the machines have been inaccessible, but they're becoming more accessible. And there's a company that is able to make a machine that nobody else can duplicate. So they have a better training equipment than what all the gyms are full of. And it's not very expensive, and no one else can duplicate it. So that's clearly worth billions. If those 3 things are true, then it's clearly worth billions. So at the moment, that company's worth about 10 million. They've been in business for a few years, but something's missing in their marketing. So I'm chatting with them of like, well, I've worked with a premiership winning team. I've run a 7-figure network marketing business, and I'm currently connected with the most, the fastest growing, most important athletic system with ATG. Maybe we should have a discussion. Like, maybe we should work on this. This is where all of, everyone comes in. What if UNCOM did a deal with this brand, and we decided that this was going to become something that every gym owner had the opportunity to experience? Because as soon as you experience this type of training, intuitively, like I bought 3 or 4 different brands of these machines last year. And it's clearly better than barbell training. It's just new. it's like with crypto. It's like with smartphones. Initially, no one wants a smartphone. Eventually, everyone wants a smartphone. If that is the case with this training equipment, I'm not saying barbells are going to be obsolete. People are always going to want to train with barbells. I will as well. But there is there is better equipment, and there is one company that has a special way of producing it. So that's just one example of, could UNCOM partner with a brand, and then UNCOM benefits from this. UNCOM's buying assets, UNCOM's buying villages, UNCOM's crowdfunding projects within the community. I don't know if it's going to go down that way. The UNCOM token itself can't be shareholder and whatever, but UNCOM brand itself can do what it wants in effect. So yeah, I see us partnering with brands to help distribute those brands, and everybody in the network benefiting from that is ideally where we go with this. So that would be my thoughts on the team, players, mentors, superstars, stars, brands. Does that make sense? Do we have questions, thoughts, observations there? Pierce might say something there, because I think he's been listening in. It looks like he's been listening.
Just got in there. Wasn't on at the start, but
no, yeah, but I think you heard the what I was talking about there. Did you not?
Yeah, but the brands and
yep,
yeah, no, makes a lot of sense. I like the idea of the partnering with different brands, and it's all just still a bit like, still trying to wrap my head around the whole kind of UNCOM thing and what it's about. It was actually listening to your podcast that you put into the group with Connor O'Shea. That clarified things a lot for me. I don't know what it was, just hearing you speak raw about it or something. It made everything make a lot more sense than just straight away. I don't know why, it's just maybe just hearing you talk about it, everything just started to click a little bit more, for sure. But yeah, also with the villages and stuff, you're on about them, I just think that's class. Like I really do want to get into that. I think that's such a cool idea, to be able to travel around the world and go and visit different people who are experts at something that you want to do. Community-based thing where it's, I know myself here, like where I live, you know, there's not many people around here, and if there is, they're certainly not trying to better themselves. So if you can go and be with people that are way ahead of you and live with them for a week or two, I just think that's amazing. I think the opportunity for that would just be, it's unlimited, really.
Yeah. It's a yellow kind of idea. The limitless, unlimited, infinite are the words that go with yellow in the UNCOM system, and that concept is one that's like sort of been rattling around my head for years, but now it's like really clear and tangible with what Lyndon brought to the table with Vanuatu. I mean, Lyndon came to me and said, you know, do you want to buy a block of land with me? Or, you know, we're going to sell these blocks of land, buy one each on the beach. And then that's gradually morphed into what we've launched now as the UNCOM Village concept in Vanuatu and the Freedom Farm. And but by seeding that thought, then it was like, well, could probably do this in Europe as well. And yeah, it is, man. It's super exciting to think about. And if I'd have been able to do that instead of the way I traveled in my 20s, I probably would have had a lot more fun and been a lot healthier and progressed a lot faster versus the way, you know, I went and explored the world. And it was tough. You know, it was tough trying to find a path. And it's cool to do that as well. But at some point, it's good to be around good people that understand you. And I mean, everyone's a good person, but there's people that are heading in different directions, as you say. So yeah, it is exciting, man. And it's cool that I haven't really voiced a lot of this stuff. And I felt like that with Connor as well, that it's good to voice it. It was like therapeutic to me to actually get it all off my chest in a way. I've been building it all and it's all sort of there on paper in a way, but I haven't actually made videos about it. So that's what that was about. And like, that was great for that. And then this is also like trying to make it more visual and tangible of like, yeah, we're doing these events and these are the people who are going to be mentoring and these are the locations we're building. So it's gradually becoming clearer to me as well. Like, it's all evolving all the time. So suggestions and ideas are always welcome because things are evolving fast. But
yeah, definitely. And just on that, about you were saying when you speak on the videos, I find myself anyway, when I listen to you speak, and you're say what, even with the ATG stuff, I was learning the different short range, long range tension training. When I watch your videos, it's a lot more clear than when I'm reading. I can read things over and over, your writings, and when that makes sense. I mean, that's just the way I learn. But as soon as you speak on a video, I always get things instantly. It always makes things much more clear to me. So it's just a suggestion or something that you all make more videos of how everything is. Maybe there's more people that can get it like me, because it's just when I hear you speak, it just makes things way more clear to me than if I'm just reading, say, the articles or something.
100%. But I need to know a bit of what I want to say before I say it. Like, sometimes little bits of different ideas come out as I speak, but you know, that's what a lot of the writing is, like me having a foundation to be able to then speak about it a month or two down the track once it's sort of solidified and clarified, you know. So that's why I encourage everyone to write, because I think Notion has played a huge part in, you know, big shout out for Notion. It's played a big part in UNCOM because it allows me every time I get an idea to put it down, and then it's easy enough to get back to where I think I lost a lot of stuff in the past. But that, you know, looking at it, rearranging it all the time and trying to figure out what's intuitive, but also just what is this thing? Yeah, it's like, it gives you the foundation to then go and be able to speak it. So the intention has always been to make videos, but then I haven't known what I would say, or that I knew that the system wasn't ready and it was like still evolving too fast, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So then I'll go on to UNCOM School. A lot of us weren't that overly impressed with public education, what we got in terms of whether we went to private schools or public schools, whatever it was. Most of us probably felt as though it wasn't ideal. There could have been done better, and I wonder what that better is. At some stage, I would love us to have a good system of online learning for children and physical locations where children can learn. I think that is a real possibility. It looks as though Ben Patrick is going to make his, I think it's Common Sense School or something, which is quite funny with our thing being uncommon and his thing being common. But I'm pretty sure we're on the same page with a lot of stuff anyway. So the concept of doing something better in education is something that clearly we need. Education by itself is kind of impotent. Like the way someone was talking about the other day was like, that's sort of like the web 1.0. They talk about web 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. Well, schools like just giving you information, but the information by itself is impotent. It doesn't do anything. You need accountability to go with it, and then you need like the connections that can actually help you to put it into the real world. So that action accountability piece and connecting to other people we have with UNCOM. So we still need knowledge, we still need ideas, and learning things. So this part is probably one of the least developed areas of what we're doing. There are courses there, but there's a ton of work needs to be done with like polishing and making it clear. And then you will be able to go through the course, and upon completion of the course and proving that you have change of knowledge, then you'll be rewarded with UNCOM tokens. People are able to integrate their courses into the program. So I've been speaking with Misha Sakharov, who has helped a lot of people who've been told that they have a very short period to live. He's helped them to live a lot longer. He's a great person. He's a Russian engineer, was living in Denmark when we first spoke, and now he lives in Bulgaria. But he's a great person, and he's got some new courses coming out. I would love to acknowledge people who take that information on board and be able to reward them for buying those courses and completing those courses with UNCOM tokens. UNCOM is meant to be fuel for success. So we're going to pour fuel on that process. It's already good on its own, but if you get the tokens for actually doing the course well and proving that you really had a big change of knowledge, you took on the experiences in the way that we do things with UNCOM 25. If you took on a course with that level of focus, even for ATG for coaches, right? It could be done with a lot more discipline with the UNCOM 25 type structure, and then being rewarded for doing it well. So courses done, my kind of stuff, courses that users generate, any member, building a course, a short course, a medium course, a big course. There's a lot of work to do on how we curate all of that and how it works as far as the technology side. There are solutions. Franz has a pretty good course structure thing. He's been developing custom software. Franz, who works for ATG for coaches, worked for me for a little while with Real Movement, and joined me on the transition to ATG for coaches. One way or another, we're going to have a good course thing at some stage in the near future. And also just working on solutions. So these are not courses, but exploration of knowledge. So sharing things that are really important to learn about. And yeah, there's really valuable stuff in there. And I would love to reward people for consuming that content. And then they can use those tokens to buy mentoring. They can use those tokens to pay towards different events. You can stake the tokens so that you get discounts on events, so that you get preferential access. We've only got 9 more places for this event in Spain. If you've got more tokens, then you've obviously valued the network more. It makes sense that you should be able to access those events preferentially to people who haven't done as much work or haven't valued the network as much. So that's kind of where the tokens come into it. But yeah, the courses and the solutions, like education side of things, super important. But without the rest of it, it's kind of Online education is almost as broken as traditional education, where people buy courses, they pay the money, and then they don't really do the work. So we're looking to make an impact on that scene. Yeah, would love to hear questions, thoughts, feedback on that. Even those of you who haven't spoken, those who have. But yeah, finding the courage to speak on these calls as well can be something that is good for growth, or even just having your camera on for part of the call. You don't have to have your camera on all the time, and you don't have to speak every time you come on. But if you do sometimes, it's another aspect of personal growth. You're getting closer to presenting and sharing what you want to share. Andres, what'd you have for breakfast?
Just eggs and coffee. I woke up like 10 minutes before the call, so I just had to cook something up real quick.
Yeah. Perfect. What are you hearing here so far? You've been listening in?
Yeah, really interested in the van idea. I know that was a little earlier, but years ago I was right on the verge of buying a van and just doing that, but got roped into another lease with my roommates, but it's all been good. And yeah, I know Max and I have talked about the van idea, so I definitely want to talk to him more about what his thoughts are on it and if he's making any progress in that direction.
Yeah, very cool. Anyone else got anything to share there before we move on to the bit more about the tech side? Cool. So I did start to touch on it there, but the point of the token, the UNCOM token, is the governance token of the network. So the plan is that this thing will work without anyone running it. It'll take some time from like the team of people that are working on it now, but eventually the people who have the UNCOM tokens will be the people who run the UNCOM network. Now we'll set that up in the best way possible to not allow it to be hijacked or games to be played. It seems like some games have just been played in the crypto world. We've got a design around, not being able to be crashed. But the cool thing is, like, if the token price was crashed, right, and everybody has earned the tokens by juggling, by getting them in return for watching videos, by going to live events, well, you didn't actually really lose anything if you lose your tokens. Like, you did what you wanted to do anyway, and you're becoming the person you want to be anyway, which is much more valuable. The tokens just incentivize the process, and incentives are important, and it is feasible that the token could become something that makes an impact on the way you're able to live your future. It's possible, but it's not an essential part of it. I do think it's an important part. It's something that could open us up to a much bigger audience a lot faster. But yeah, it's going to work anyway, and especially with the physical assets and things like that. Like if there's actually physical properties and things that are within the network, then the token value is likely to be supported by that. So if holding a bunch of tokens means that you get to go to these physical locations, then it can't really crash to the same extent. The more locations there are, the more assets there are, the more mentors there are, the more players there are, the more the token is just going to hold its value or increase its value. But yeah, there's no guarantees in crypto, so it's a wild world, and we probably will experience, what the crypto world's experiencing now, at some stage. But yeah, so yeah, we have the token. Obviously, it's a blockchain crypto project. We've been talking and iterating around the NFTs. I've got some draft sort of sketches of you would each have your own NFT, and then it will either be that the image of your NFT gets upgraded and updated as you improve. So we have a concept of like what your NFT will look like, and then as you complete courses and as you win points, you win UNCOMs, you gain the ability to do things, the image will change of your NFT. Like that's one of the concepts that we have. It might take a while. It might not work like that initially. It definitely doesn't work like that right now. So, it'll take some time to get all this stuff to work, but this is the plan of where we want to go with the NFT. But then the NFTs could also, if you have built your NFT to a certain level, then that can get you preferential access to these mentors, to these villages, to these live events. You know what I mean? So it's another level of the rewards, independent of your tokens. 2 layers, 2 levels, and it allows people to visually understand what journey you've been on, and it's super exciting to think that it's like your own kind of football card or baseball card. The football cards, in Australia, baseball cards and stuff, they have the statistics and that on them. So if we each had those kind of things and we were accumulating, then I think that would be something that's really valuable. But then with having the different graphics and things like that, then some people might decide to collect them as well. And so if there's that collection aspect to it, then that will also help to fund the project. So if the funding's going towards these villages, if it's going towards better app technology, if it's going towards better marketing, all of these things are positive. And so the staking is a really important part of what we do. The ability, you will have the ability to stake your UNCOM tokens. So the people who did EMC the first time got 1,000 tokens in return for them being early in what we were doing. So 1,000 UNCOM tokens. It's generally, I don't know what the value is at the moment. It's been like, I don't know what it is at the moment. It's probably a lot lower because T-Fuel is a lot lower. I don't know, but the UNCOM. So the ability to stake, and the longer you stake for, the more tokens you have locked up, and the longer they're staked for, will allow you to win staking rewards. And so within the way we've set up the tokenomics, if you lock them up and say, I'm not going to touch this for 4 years, then you'll get gifted a bunch of free tokens, and having those tokens locked will allow you that preferential access to events and mentors and things like that. So that it creates upward. So supply and demand is the game with anything of value, with gold, with silver, with diamonds, also with UNCOM tokens. Supply and demand. If a lot of the tokens are locked because people are actually playing the game and they're not just here to speculate and try and make money, but they actually want to better themselves, then everyone who's playing the game in that way creates upward price pressure for the UNCOM token. We're working on that. We've been working with someone for a few weeks. We've had no progress. It's a little bit frustrating, but at some stage, all of these pieces will fall into place in terms of the technology side of things. And then, so you get rewarded all along the way. I think I've been hinting at that all the way through, but when you learn to 3-ball juggle, you get a reward. If you learn to 4-ball juggle, you get a reward. 5-ball. I've mapped out most of where I see that. Again, it'll all be open to feedback and be something that the community can vote on and change as we develop those governance systems. But the rewards part of it is super important. So I want to be able to, as I said for this call, like if you were automatically rewarded for giving me your attention, then that would be great. If you watch the podcast, you should be rewarded. Maybe it shouldn't be that much, but it should be. If there's that incentive there, then people will watch more and people will learn more, and the community will get better faster. So the content, the calls that we've been having with Jack and with the Devolve NFT guys and stuff, it's absolutely phenomenal. Wandering Investor, like, it's worth $10,000 a year to have access to these calls. Like, easily $20,000 a year would be a fair price for what we're doing at the moment. Honestly, like, based on all the courses and stuff I've done, I paid $40,000 for a lot less. I paid $60,000 for a lot less. And so if we can continue to provide many multiples of the value of what we're asking for, then we should be able to grow quite quickly. And so, that's what the rewards system is set up for. Questions, thoughts, concerns around the crypto side of things? I know that this is probably where most people are least comfortable because this stuff's all new. No one knew what an NFT was 4 years ago. Maybe like 20 people in the world did. So it's new to everyone, just newer to some than others. For me, it was new till sort of November last year. I started to get into them seriously. Maybe like July or something, I was like starting to buy them with Theta Drop, just cheap ones. But yeah, thoughts, ideas, Jax, Kevin, Daniel, Pierce. Guys have already spoken.
Hey, Keegan.
Pete.
Yeah, so the staking, how would that work? Would that be like, you said you got UNCOM tokens, or you'd get UNCOM tokens for as a reward for staking? Would that be like a 5% of the token, the amount that you staked, something like that?
Something like that, yeah. Like if you look at the hex model, it's a really interesting model. So if you only stake for a very short period of time, you only get a very small amount of interest. If you stake for a really long period of time, then you get more. Now, their token is inflationary. So their token inflates by 4% a year, something like that. So their supply increases by 4% each year. And that 4% goes to the people who are staking. It goes mostly to the people who have staked for the longest period of time. I think forget how many. I think it's like 8 years. I forget how long it is their maximal staking in Hex, but I've been thinking too much about my own stuff and haven't looked at theirs. I think it's longer than that. It might be 14, 15 years or something that you stake in Hex. And but yeah, the longer you stake, then the bigger the percentage of the rewards that you get. And so that will be, we'll do it somewhere along those lines if I can work with someone who's good enough at maths. And I know there are people in my network that are capable in those areas. So yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and with regards to the rewards as well, I think there is, I think it's called like Permission IO, and they're doing a similar sort of thing with the sort of rewards for learning or rewards for like watching adverts. I think it is. They're like a website almost.
Yeah.
So it's like ad revenue for them, but then you get rewarded for watching the video.
Imagine that technology used for good rather than evil. You know, that's the that's the thing that we're putting in front of you. It's like you get rewards for watching Alex Hormozy and Bob Proctor and Paul Council, the people who've most positively influenced my life. That's what I want to give you UNCOM rewards for. It's important to understand as well, I didn't mention there in the tokenomics, there are only 1 million UNCOM tokens. Like there'll only ever be 1 million of them. So if you have 1,000 UNCOM tokens, you're already 1,000th of the network, which is huge.
Percentage.
Yeah. So the at some point we get to the point where all the tokens are distributed, right? So at some point in the growth of this, we will have to have a secondary token in the way that Theta Network does. So you need to have an inflationary token that you can manipulate or change for transactions. Otherwise, there comes a time, well, we wouldn't be able to give the rewards anymore, or we'd have to buy the rewards back. I guess it's something that we can consider. Like maybe if the companies make enough money, then we can keep buying the tokens back off our own members to be able to pay them as rewards to other people. I don't know. It gets a bit funky in the maths, but the way Theta has done it is like they've got 1 billion tokens and there's only 1 billion, but once they'd got to a certain amount of that billion with a certain level of strength in the ecosystem, then they launched T-Fuel. And what they did with the T-Fuel is they airdropped it to the people who had Theta tokens. And then they launched T-Drop, and they dropped that to people who had Theta tokens. Okay, so that's a kind of a standard way that they do it. Some of the T-Drop goes to their staff, and you can look it up, exactly what they've done with it. But yeah, I mean, the good thing is there's precedence for all of these sorts of things. So yeah, as you say, Pete, like this technology, these concepts are not unique to us, but the application of them, as far as I'm aware, is completely unique. And wanting to do the physical stuff in the way that we're doing it as well. Like ecotourism and fitness tourism is huge. Fitness tourism has exploded, but we can do fitness tourism in a way that no one else can do fitness tourism. With ATG, with the the juggling and the handstands and stuff makes us even more unique. And then We, if we also do the food well, that that is a positive. And then the other side of the UNCOM stuff, if people want to discuss where they're going with their lives in more detail, I think that it's something really powerful and something unique. And if there's only, say you've got 100 beds and you got 365 nights, people stay on average, 4 nights. Do the maths on that. It's not that many people that can actually visit a location each year, even if it's at full capacity. If you do have 100 beds running at full capacity, it's $100 a night, which is cheap for accommodation. Then that's a $3 million business. Of course, you're going to have expenses with managing a place like that, but those are just simple numbers. That's without any extras and stuff. So if they're profitable, then people will want to invest in them. Whether we, who owns what, I don't care. What's important is that these kind of locations and possibilities exist. So if someone decides to straighten out their life, then there's a place they can go where they can get some really good support to be able to do that. So you could go and do your UNCOM 25 in a location, pay for that experience, have a coach there with you each day. Imagine how powerful that would be.
Big time.
And you could run that out of, Pierce, you could run that from where you are with someone staying at a bed and breakfast down the road or staying in the top of the pub, and you still give them that UNCOM 25 each day. If you're a coach who knows this stuff, and it'll work itself out as far as like business model goes. But yeah, we will need people to be able to help other people through this process. I think we already do. I think that's part of the issue is that, for $97 a year, it's difficult to hold everyone's hand through the process. But yeah, we're working on it and we're getting closer and we're doing a pretty good job of hand holding because you can pretty much get on a call every day until you work it out the way the community's structured at the moment. So yeah, we'll get there step by step.